Yeah, Dan, can you see anything?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, currently it's blank on my screen, so I'll just click on the screen now. So I'm guessing you can see the first slide.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm guessing that's it then. So that must mean everyone else can see us. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the School of Sport. School of Sport, Fitness and Public Services. Today you are with myself, Jahid, and Daniel Trafford, who are part of the sport and exercise science program and also sport coaching. In regards to sports psychology and public services, the sports psychology we will give you more information about. But in regards to public services, we will forward you on to Emma Hurst for any inquiries about the program itself, as Emma Hurst has more details on that. But for now, over the next 45 minutes, you'll be with me and Dan, and we'll be introducing you into the two programs that we currently have on offer alongside sports psychology, but in particular, these two courses, which are the BSc Honours Sport and Exercise Science and the Bachelor of Arts on honorary degree, Sport Development and Coaching. And just to stress on this as well, these courses are both three year long, but there is an option for a foundation entry route as well. So for those of you that are applying without a level 3, there is an option for you to enroll onto a foundation year just to develop them fundamental skills and knowledge to then go on to either the sport and exercise science route or the sports coaching route as well. Okay, so before we go into more depth about the courses themselves, it'd be good if you guys can find out a bit more about myself, Dan, and the team. Okay, so Dan, do you want to go off then and let us know what your history is within sports coaching and who you are and what you've done?
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. So my name's Dan. Predominantly come from a practical background. So my background is coaching based. I'm still actively working in coaching. I work in a football academy, which sort of really sits nicely in terms of almost practicing what you preach. So a lot of the things that we'll talk about throughout both degrees, the coaching and the sports science, having that sort of practical experience of my own and applying the sort of theory to practice is really, really helpful. And also, gives you as students a little bit more of an insight to what an elite coaching environment looks like, how things sort of fit into the real world, because we're very conscious of the classroom isn't the pitch, or isn't the court, or isn't the rugby pitch. So it gives a nice little blend to your sort of learning that you can be exposed to in that regards. So obviously I went to university myself, studied sports coaching and performance, then progressed on to my masters, and like I've previously said, currently working in football, and I've had various jobs in industry across my sort of 15-year coaching career so far, a number of full-time jobs as well as part-time jobs. And yeah, my sort of specialist area would be sort of coaching and athlete development, along with some performance analysis stuff as well. So that's pretty much me. I'll pass you back to Jarhead.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much, Dan. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So as you've guessed, my name is Jahid Ali. I'm also one of the lecturers on the HE sport programs. Predominantly, my involvement is within the sports science degree program, because that's where my experiences lie. So I'll start off with a bit more about my education to begin with. So to be fair, it's quite recent. Graduated in 2016. I graduated in BSc Honours Sport Exercise Science degree. And then following on from that, I decided to study a master's, specialising in sport and exercise nutrition. And from that, I then was able to become a registered performance nutritionist, which has now allowed me to work with many different people that are out there, whether they are athletes or whether they are part of the public themselves, and allow myself to work with these guys to help them to improve either, it could be performance related, it could be health related, it could be well-being related. So that itself, has allowed me to gain experience of working with clients across the board. And that is something that myself, and I guess Dan as well, with his experiences in the industry itself, we can bring this to you guys as well to help you with that step. If you are planning to work, with clients later on, because I know many of you guys here will be looking to probably open, say, a business, or will be looking to work practically hands-on with individuals. Okay. So, for those of you that have aspirations to become practitioners, that is something that myself and Dan and even Adam as well can provide you with the experiences that we've had to help you work with many different clients in the future. So quite obviously, my areas that I specialize in really are in sport and exercise nutrition. It's my passion, and with that comes with exercise physiology and biochemistry. So my experiences and my sort of specialties are probably different towards, say, Dan's. Dan's are a lot more hands-on, a lot more practical, whereas mine are probably a lot more theoretical in that sense. When you look at the subjects like physiology and biochemistry in particular. But that doesn't mean there isn't any practical element to physiology or biochemistry, which we'll come on to later on. But yeah, that's it really from myself. And then on the right here, what you'll see is Adam's profile. So Adam unfortunately couldn't make it with us today, but again, Adam has a vast amount of experience working in the industry, and his experiences have been with athletes, particularly with the British cycling team. And again, his specialist areas are within coaching and athlete development, which he is passionate about, and also human sciences for physical education as well. So anything in regards to educating athletes, or if you want to become a coach educator moving forwards, Adam specializes in the area, and he has had vast amount of experiences over the years in that sector. So that's it really from us. Although you may think it's a quite small team, it's a team that it has a vast amount of experience, and we are looking to always grow in numbers. Is there anything else that anyone add to this, Dan?
No, not really. I think
no.
Bored them enough about us. Let's tell them what happened.
Yeah, let's go to the onto the good stuff now. So yeah, Dan, do you want to say more about this? Because this is the golden thread of modules, in particular in regards to coaching.
Yeah, so this is something that I'm quite passionate about myself, and we've sort of called it here the golden thread of modules through all our sports degrees. So both sports coaching and sports science and sports psychology will all feature these modules throughout, and you'll tend to see from what's on screen now, strength and conditioning, sort of sciencey, sports psychology sciencey, performance analysis sciencey, but then there are also a lot of coaching threads that go through there as well. So things like contemporary coaching issues, and there's fundamental coaching practice and applied field study. The reason for this is, and sort of support, I don't know if anyone's heard of the late great Dick Bate. He was a bit of a legend in terms of football coaching aspects, but he always talks about the coach being the king, and what he sort of meant by that was in any practical working environment where you're working with elite athletes or sub-elite athletes or participation level athletes, the coach predominantly has the most contact time with any athlete. So if you sort of consider an elite environment, for example, right now, and you look at not just the coach and the athlete, the support that goes around that athlete now is incredible, from strength and conditioning coaches, sports psychologists, physiotherapists, performance analysis, welfare officers, education officers, and these all play a vital role in developing the athlete as the whole. But it sort of comes back down to the coach and the athlete are right in the middle of it all. So the reason these modules go all the way through our degrees is because the coach has to be a sports scientist and understand how sports science works and appreciate it, and be able to work as part of a multidisciplinary team. But then on the flip side of that, the sports scientist, so your psychologist or your strength and conditioning coach or your biomechanics, they also have to understand how to apply that through a coaching's perspective with athletes. So that's the reason that it sort of runs all the way through. So you'll find science in coaching and you'll find coaching in science, and that's the sort of justification for why we set up and run our degrees that way, and it all relates back to what it looks like in real life. You know, your sports scientists now, I know where I'm currently at the moment, our strength and conditioning coaches and our performance analysis all have to be qualified as coaches as well. So a sports science isn't enough now in that environment, just like us as coaches are expected to be educated and qualified in sports science. So that's just a little bit about what you'll tend to see now as it goes all the way through the next sort of slides, and we talk a little bit more specifically about course modules on each course.
Yeah, no, definitely fantastic, Dan. And just to add to that as well, stressing on the point of working in a multidisciplinary team, you know, in modern sport now, and especially in the industry of sports science and sports coaching, it's not just an industry where you have to know about your background. So by that, what I mean, for example, you know, if you're an S&C coach, it doesn't, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago, yeah, you would have to know just about S&C, but now you have to know more about other disciplines, okay? And for example, you know, S&C coach must have some fundamental knowledge around performance analysis, have some knowledge around nutrition, have some knowledge around, say, biomechanics, or, you know, because all these modules here, they all link together. And each discipline, they work in harmony with each other. So if you were working in the real, you know, the real life world, and you were seeing, you know, to become an effective practitioner, you must be able to communicate with many different disciplines, and with that you must have some sort of fundamental knowledge as well, because it will just help your life, you know, make your life a lot more easier, but ultimately it will help you and the athlete work together a lot more effectively as well. All right. And yeah, so all that we spoke about the modules here, there's the big one, dissertation, which, you know, we can probably talk about now, really. Dissertation is always a popular sort of module, especially in year 3, across many programs, not just, you know, sport programs, but a dissertation will definitely take place in either, you know, whether you were studying the sports and exercise science degree program or whether it was the sports coaching program, you will have a dissertation module in there. And, you know, usually whenever upcoming graduates are looking at that word there, you know, dissertation itself, they tend to get pretty scared, thinking, oh, it's going to be a very big assignment or a very big task. But yeah, it may be. However, you know, that is especially within the sports science program and the sports coaching program, your dissertation is ultimately gonna be the module where you can put everything together that you've learned in them 3 years, or 4 if you're doing the foundation entry route, and then put them all in together and then see if whether you can actually apply the theory that you have learned over them 3-4 years and put that into practice. Okay. And that itself, you know, it will get you thinking to see how far you can go, you know, beyond this sports science or sports coaching degree program. Whether you can actually, you know, go on to study a master's potentially, or whether you think you can actually then go on to work in the industry. So that module there is something that is going to be occurring in both programs. So let's just move on. So let's start off with sports science then. And you know, again, what if you have been looking at across sports science programs, across different universities, you will find that the modules tend to be very similar. Okay, because these are the fundamental modules that make up a sports science degree program. So here's a quick overview on the sort of modules that you'll be taught across the 3 years. And the reason why I say across the 3 years is because, for example, in year one, look at the first one there, we've got strength and conditioning. So that could be the foundation of strength and conditioning in year one. Whereas in year two, once you build that foundation from year one, you can then move on to year two and then start to look to apply that. So that's where you'll see, where you will start to develop more practitioner sort of base skills in year two, whereas year one will be, getting that core fundamental knowledge in place before we can start applying any of the theory in practice. So we've got applied strength and conditioning, we've got functional anatomy and kinetometry. Dan, help me out on that one.
Kinetometry.
Yeah, I've always had an issue pronouncing that one. In other words, that's just is it not the module that you followed this year?
It's anatomy and physiology, basically.
Oh, right, okay. So we've got some anatomy and physiology in that. And I think that does incorporate some sort of body composition sort of assessments as well, if I'm right.
Yeah, so we started in year one. So we start looking at body composition and sort of what the body looks like, and then we sort of progress into how the body works and how it works together, and then start to put it then into a sporting environment, and what does that mean in environments? What do elite athletes look like? How do we develop certain bodies into elite athletes? So it's sort of a fundamental entry to anatomy and physiology, basically. So
definitely, definitely, and it definitely has a cross link to the next module, which is sports nutrition, because with sports nutrition, if you want to become an effective nutritionist, you have to be able to conduct many different body composition tests, and one being the skin fold test as well, which takes place in the module before. So you can already see there how modules are cross-linking with each other. But a bit more about sports nutrition. So sports nutrition is a module whereby it will take you beyond from your regular, say, personal trainer who's saying, right, this is what you need to eat, an X amount of carbs, X amount of fat, X amount of protein. Instead of that, what you'll be looking at is how you can use nutrition to either enhance performance, enhance health, or even enhance recovery as well. Okay, because when you are working with an athlete, them three aspects are the main aspects. What can you do to improve performance? What can you do to improve recovery? And what can you do to improve health? And we will then start to investigate and explore how we can, use food use food and nutrition as a means of developing them three aspects or enhancing them three aspects. And again, within sports nutrition module, you will look at how certain foods have certain effects from a physiological and a biochemistry point of view as well. And we'll be looking at how is sports nutrition actually like in a real life world. Okay, because sports nutrition and nutrition in general, it's not something that fits. One recommendation does not fit for all. each recommendation will be individualized to many different people if you're working in the real life world. Okay, so it's about how do you deal with that as well. And alongside becoming an effective sports nutritionist, how can you become, a psychologist along the way? Because if you are working with clients, motivation is something that you will need to be developing. Confidence in the client is something that you will need to be developing. And again, we will start to bring in different modules into sports nutrition to help you become the best possible practitioner moving forward, if that is something that you want to become. The next module there, we've got exercise physiology, and again, this is a module that really focuses on the body itself. Okay, so we explore the mechanisms within the body and how they react to many different situations that we're put in. Okay, so we start to explore many things like the energy systems. We start to explore the cardiovascular system. We explore the respiratory system. We look at the neuromuscular system as well. How is that then impacted upon exercise, and and how does recovery play a role in that? Yeah, there's a lot. With exercise physiology, the list goes on. But that is really looking at the mechanisms within our body itself. The stuff that we can't see from the naked eye. Okay, we start to explore that a lot more further, and how is that then impacted upon exercise and recovery. The next one, then we've got data analysis in sport and exercise. And again, this is a module that you are introduced into the first year with some modules, and then I think you also particularly have in year one a module that focuses on data analysis. And for those of you that love your stats and that potentially want to become statisticians within sport, it's am I still on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, am I still on? No, that's fine. Yeah, so those of you that want to become statisticians moving forward within sport, this is a module that you guys will enjoy, and it's definitely a module that you will need to be engaged in if you are looking to produce the most effective dissertation in year 3, and for any lab reports that you may have as well. Because what you will find with the assignments, which we'll come on to more in a bit, the assignments within the sports science degree program, it does involve a lot of data analysis. So luckily, we have a specific module in place to help you with that. So to help you develop them skills along the 3 years as well. So when it comes to your dissertation, you're not going to be in a position whereby you don't know how to analyze certain data or a data set that is put in front of you. Okay, so that module there helps you with your dissertation